Okay, welcome back to the channel, friends. I am Lisa, and in today's video I have my coffee here on the side, I have candles that you guys cannot see, and I have the curriculum choices for 2022-2023, and I am going to show you guys inside of the kindergarten Saxon math homeschool edition, as well as the first grade, in case you are trying to figure out which level to get your kid, if you should get them kindergarten or first grade. I'm going to go through them both for you so that you can see and you can really compare. I figured to make this a little bit different for you, in case you were wondering which one you should get or you're kind of torn between the two. I will go through them both. I will try to go through them both at the same time to give you an idea and an understanding of what is to be expected. And then in my next video, I will go through the first grade curriculum as well as the second grade curriculum for math, for Saxon math. So let's go ahead and let's dive into each of these and compare the difference between the two. I'm going to set my coffee aside here, and we're gonna go ahead and open them up. So as far as the boxes are, you can see the difference in the sizes there, if that's something that you're interested in. All right, so they both come with one of these, which is the Home Study Teacher's Edition. And so one is bigger than the other one. Of course, the first grade one has more content in there than this one does. So when we open them up, let's see. Here is the first pages of both of them. All right, so first page in the kindergarten version, it pretty much says the same thing. I'm looking here, it looks like it tells pretty much the same thing, exact same thing there. The next one looks a little bit different. So during the year, your child will participate in a wide variety of mathematics activities. Your child will learn through hands-on experiences, discussion, and exploration. This one says the program is designed so that 4 lessons are taught each week, with the 5th day of the week used for review if necessary. Each Math 1 lesson has 4 components. These components are the meeting, the lesson, class practice, and the written practice. Every 5th lesson includes a written assessment, and every 10th lesson includes an oral assessment. Let's see, the meeting occurs at the beginning of each day. During the meeting, your child will use a meeting book and a meeting strip. The chart on the next page shows the calendar patterns used each month in the meeting book. A meeting strip master is included at the end of the overview. 33 copies of this master will provide enough meeting strips for the year. So it's saying that you would want to make copies of your meeting strips. So I'll go over that in 1 second. Read each day's lesson before teaching it to become familiar with the lesson activity, the materials needed, and the important questions asked. While teaching the lesson, you may read the script exactly as it's written. During the lesson, encourage your child to discuss observations and discoveries and ask questions. The doing part of this program is very important and leads to concepts understandings. Okay. A fact sheet is completed each day. So that is all the information on there. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but here, let's see. There are only 2 parts to the math program, which is the meeting and the lesson. So during the meeting, your child will answer questions about the calendar and practice counting, patterning, time telling, and estimation. A new increment or skill is taught during the lesson. Here is the table of contents. The difference here is that these are kind of labeled with the lessons that you have for the month of September. These are not labeled, but if you follow everything, we know that generally it's going to be 1 new lesson a day, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday you will be reviewing. At the kindergartner portion is set up is that generally you're going to be teaching 2 to 3 new lessons a week, and then on the opposite day, so let's say you choose Monday, Wednesday, Friday to teach a new lesson. On Tuesday and Thursday, you would just repeat the meeting from the previous day, just to ensure that they have a good understanding of what they've learned so far. Today's date in the first grade, and it starts with exploring pattern blocks in the first lesson here. And then the second lesson, which would be Tuesday here, would be making towers for the numbers 1 through 5. And then this one would be lesson 2 would be Wednesday would be exploring pattern blocks. So the same thing. Then you're going to go over writing the numbers 1, 4, and 5, and then here it's going to be exploring teddy bear counters, and you can see that they're repeating. The next one is exploring teddy bear counters. So I really like the how it gives you what your lessons are going to be. So you're going to start there, and then let's see, by the end of the month you'll be going into writing numbers 15, writing the number 15 and counting pennies, and it goes over all of that. So you'll start at writing the numbers 1 through 5. By the end of the month, you'll go through writing through numbers 15. This is in the first grade portion. And then the next month, it looks like month-ish, you're gonna go over writing the number 16 all the way to the number 31. So you'll go through the months there. Identifying morning, afternoon, evening, and night, measuring length and using non-standard units, length and width, I'm sorry. Then you're going to go into creating a graph. You're going to be writing numbers the number 37. You're going to go over additional facts like adding 0. You have an assessment here. Then from writing the number 38, you're going to be counting by tens to 100. That's a few months in. You're going to be counting dimes, which works well with counting by tens. Then you're going to be ordering containers by volume, identifying 1 cup liquid measures, writing the number 43, counting by twos, telling the time to the hour, identifying even numbers. Then you're going to take another assessment. I skipped some assessments over here. So if that sounds like too much for your kid to start off with, this one is a lot more simple. You're going to use linking cubes, making a real graph, creating an A-B color pattern, counting to 10, sorting by color, naming the shape piece using attributes, acting out story problems. Let's see. Ordering numbers 1 to 10, finding the missing number, ordering numbers from 0 to 10, showing time to the hour on a clock, writing money amounts to 10 cents, paying for items using 10 cents, paying for items up to 10 cents using pennies. So very, very simple. Then you're going to go through acting out some more with stories, counting by ones. You're going to talk about dividing in half and sharing. Then you're going to be paying for items up to 25 cents using pennies, paying for items up to 50 cents using nickels. That's pretty cool. I say using pennies for the 25 cents, but that was using nickels. And then you'll have an assessment, copying Geo Board designs, and acting out more stories, identifying and matching equivalent sets. And then in June, the last assessment is going to be assessment number 14, where you're naming the days of the week, counting by tens to 100, identifying the penny, the nickel, and the dime. So those are the assessments that they have for kindergarten. Is the first assessment, counting objects, matching sets of objects using one-to-one correspondence. That's the first assessment. Second assessment is identifying and naming the shapes. And before that, you're just going to be going over shapes and identifying the shapes. Then you're going to go into the third one, which is matching sets and numbers. And you would do all of that here. The next assessment that you're going to go over is assessment number 4. And that is sorting and identifying the sorting rule. Then you're going to go over copying patterns, naming shapes, finding the missing piece in a matrix, exploring the Geo Board, making shapes with the Geo Board. Then the assessment is identifying numbers 0 to 10 in the sequence and sequencing the numbers 0 to 10, so putting them in order. Then you're going to go over placing an object on a real graph and counting using dimes, counting by tens, Then you're going to go over copying lines and shapes on the Geo board, counting dimes to 50 cents, paying for items up to 50 cents. Then you'll have an assessment, which will be copying and extending patterns. You'll have another assessment later after you count to 20, where you're going to identify the ordinal position. Then the next assessment is going to be creating a real graph. And then assessment number 9 is counting by ones. Assessment 10 is acting out addition and subtraction stories. And then let's see, assessment 11 is comparing and measuring length. Assessment 12 is copying Geo board designs. Assessment 13 is covering designs using tangrams. And then a lesson 14 is naming the days of the week, counting by tens to 100, identifying the penny, the nickel, and the dime. So you have full assessment, have student masters, optional handwriting master. Book is where you record the oral assessments. Oh, here we go. So the oral assessment has 4 different pages, and here it is in the back of the book, right here. And so this is the recording of the oral assessment. So you put your child's name, and then you're going to record the date. It tells you this is lesson 27, where you have your first oral assessment. You're going to be counting objects, matching sets of objects, using one-to-one correspondence. You're going to be using linking cubes, 8 blue and 10 yellow, and then it tells you what this goes over. So in the assessment, it says arrange 8 unconnected blue linking cubes in a row, and then you tell your child count the cubes in this row. Then you give your child 10 yellow cubes, make another row that is the same as my row of cubes. How do you know that they are the same? So then you're asking these things. So that is the first assessment. This is all that it is. The second assessment is going to happen on on lesson 34. This is oral assessment number 2. And it tells you the material that you need is construction paper in the shapes that are provided here. So a construction paper as a rectangle, one as a square, circle, and a triangle. And then you point to each shape and you say, what is this? What is this? What is this? And you check off if they've gotten that right. And then you tell them what to point to. Point to the square, point to the, oh, I'm sorry, it's on this side. Point to the square, point to the triangle, point to the circle, point to the rectangle. Then you move on to assessment number 3. This one is matching, you will need number cards from 0 to 10, 10 linking cubes, 1 color work mat. So you'll need a work mat. Then you have the 2, the A and the B here. So it looks like, while I'm looking at this, whenever you're doing your oral assessments, there's 2 parts to it. There's an A and a B. And then 12, 13, 14. Remember, there's 14 oral assessments there. So there are the oral assessments that you'll have in the kindergarten book. And I'll tell you what the last assessment looks like so you can figure out if this will be too easy for your child or if you feel like it would be great. So the last oral assessment is naming the days of the week, counting by tens to 100s, identifying the penny, the nickel, and the dime. So you have 1 penny, 1 nickel, and 1 dime. What are the days of the week? And then your child would tell you. Count by tens and stop at 100, and then you would allow them time to do so. Then part B says, put a penny, a nickel, and a dime on the table in front of your child. Point to the nickel and say, what coin is this? Repeat with the penny and the dime. So very simple, but that's the last one. My daughter is my daughter is going to kindergarten. This was too easy for her because she could do this. And so we are not going to be using this one for her, but I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to see if you think that this is great for your child, if you feel like this is, a little bit challenging, which is completely fine. Please don't, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt because each child is going to be different. Let's get back to the beginning, and I want to show you what one of the lessons would look like for you. Now, the lessons are repetitive as far as the order in which they occur and how they're set up. so we are going to go through a lesson, and I want to know what your thoughts are. So, okay, so here is the first lesson in September, and the title is Exploring Pattern Blocks. It says the meeting book will be used for all lessons. You will also need pattern blocks and a basket for your pattern blocks. So it already gets you set. So let's grab the pattern blocks. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so these are my pattern blocks, and they are just in a little mesh bag here. They're not in a basket because I needed them to be able to store them easily, and so they are here. When we do school, I may have a basket to pour these in, but when I'm done with them, I'm going to put them, I plan on putting them back in here. So this is where you just do what works best for you. So here are my pattern blocks and my bag for the pattern blocks there. And then it says use a black marker to write the year at the top of each calendar in the meeting book. Here is your meeting book, a black marker to write the year at the top of each calendar in the meeting book. So right away, you want to go ahead and write your year on each calendar. So it's having you set this up as we move forward through the year. So regardless of what year you're using this, once you start with this, then you know you would, let's say if I held on to this and I didn't use it this year, I can use it next year. Well, it's not dated, so I can use this whatever year I want to. So you want to go ahead, once you start, you want to go ahead and write the date at the top in a black marker. And then it says use a black marker to write the dates up to today's date on the September calendar. See, alternate the use of light green and orange, beginning with light green, to color the date squares up to the day's date on the calendar. Meeting says open the meeting book to the September calendar. This is what you do as the parent. Bolded is what you tell your student or your child. So this is called a calendar. We use a calendar to tell us the month here. Oh, there's the line for the year right there. The month, the year, and the day of the week on the side, and point to the date, which you will have written in there. This is the month of September. Where else do you see September on this page? Is the year 2022. You would point to the year 2022. Yesterday was, and then you're gonna point to yesterday, whatever yesterday was. Day of the week is today. Today is the day of the week, whatever day of the week it is. Point to yesterday's date. Yesterday was the 8th, let's just say. What do you think today's date is? So it's very simple. I'm gonna keep going. Today's date is the, I don't know, 7th. Use a black marker to write the date in the appropriate square on the calendar. Color the square using the appropriate color. Alternate from light green and orange. So it's just, again, telling you what to do with your child. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2022. Each day we will use the calendar to find out what the date is. There are some arrows on this page. We will use arrows to keep track of how many days we use the meeting book. Today's date is the first day we use the meeting book. I'll write in the number 1 in the first arrow. So here you're going to be writing in a number 1. So every time you use your meeting book, you will write in your numbers here. So again, this is kindergarten, so you're not going to use your meeting book every single day is my understanding. Okay, so that's lesson 1. Then you go to the next lesson, which is exploring pattern blocks. Today you will learn about a math material called pattern blocks. Put 2 handfuls of pattern blocks on the table in front of you. So let's close this up. So you're not going over, the next day you wouldn't be going over your meeting book is what I think. So here is a handful of pattern blocks. Can you tell me about pattern blocks? What can you tell me about pattern blocks? What do you think we could do with them? Ask your child for suggestions. I'm going to give you some pattern blocks. Give your child some pattern blocks. Use the pattern blocks to make something, and then you give them 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to make something. You will need to stop in another minute, so finish what you're working on. Give your child 1 more minute to work. You will use the pattern blocks again. You need to put them away now. Pick up your pattern blocks and put them in the basket. It's just teaching them to clean up their mess when they're done. Okay? It says optional. You can set up a math center on a small table. Put the basket of pattern blocks on the table for your child to use during free time. So that was so that was all day 1. So that was the meeting initial. Okay, so that is all for day 1. So this is your first day in math. So you're gonna do the meeting, and then you're gonna do your lesson, and they're gonna have a hands-on activity where they're gonna be building patterns. And then this is your second lesson in September. So if you're gonna do this on, like I mentioned, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this would be Wednesday's meeting, or Wednesday's meeting and lesson. So it tells you, again, how to prepare for your lesson. You will need a basket of patterns, which we have our patterns here in a bag. And then in the morning, you're gonna fill in the missing dates up to today's date on the calendar, alternate using the light green and the orange to color these squares. Today's date will be written and the squares colored during the meetings. Thanks. So here are the teddy bear counters, and it says have a basket for them, but honestly, I think I'm just gonna use the bucket that it came in. But here are your teddy bear counters. I got these off of Amazon, and they come in different sizes. So you have large ones and you have smaller ones. This is for our first grader or first grade review here. And so it's pretty much set up the same thing. It tells you when the assessments are here, what numbers you're going to be writing. So you're going to be working on each lesson, writing a different number. So 73, 74, 81, all the way. List of materials. The list of materials that you'll need for each lesson. Cutting these out. So this says today's date, today's pattern is, and then coin cup. So we'll get into that a little bit more. We'll need 33 copies of this. So I will take this out and I'll make 33 copies of the meeting strip just so that we have them. So lesson 1, let's see the difference. So this is a little bit bigger. So it says identifying today's date. So the materials that you will need to prepare is Math 1 meeting book. This will be used for all lessons. So let's see. Let's find our Math 1 meeting book. So here is our Math 1 meeting book that we will need. You'll need your meeting strips, which will make copies of that. And then the night before, which is here, it says the night before, you want to write the year on the month of the calendar in your child's meeting, in your child's Math 1 meeting book. So same as we would have done for the first grade or for the kindergarten. So you want to write the year right there in the meeting book. Fill in the shape patterns and the dates throughout yesterday's date on this month's calendar. Use the monthly shape pattern described in the overview. Each day's shape pattern and date will be added during the meeting. Add Saturday's and Sunday's shape pattern and date prior to Monday's meeting. The book together. Write your first name on the first page. Write your name on the first page. Now I will show you how we will use this book. So their name would go right here. Okay, you guys see that? It says name. So you're going to put their name here. We will use each day. We will begin each day with a meeting, with a math meeting. Today you will learn about parts of the math meeting book. You will also learn how to read today's date. Open your child's meeting book to this month's calendar. Okay, so kind of the same setup, just going over, going into depth a bit more. Record the year on the meeting strip. Let's say the full date together. Point to the words on the meeting strip as you say the following with your child. Point to the 100 number chart on the inside back cover of the meeting book. So inside here, if you go to the back, here is your hundreds chart as you count with the child. Turn to pages 46 and 47 in the meeting book. So you're only going to go to 30 here. Then you're going to turn to page 46 and 47. So right here, 46 and 47. This year we're going to make a number line. Where do you think we will start our number line? Point to the square in the upper left hand of the corner on page 46. So you're going to start right there with your number line. We will write the number on the first square. Each day we will add one more number. Write the number 1 in the first square. Other information on the meeting strip is not used today. So that's all you're doing. Then you have your lesson right down here. And it says, this year you will start to become a mathematician. So give your child worksheet 2A and 2B. Side A is completed after the lesson and side B is completed later in the day. So they have like a little homework assignment to make sure that they are memorizing, and that's what I really love about this. So you can complete, when it says later in the day, you can just give it to them at the end of the school day versus for homework, or you could give it to them for homework. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out that one. This also comes with it. The letter K did not come with a workbook. So here is the workbook, and it said to complete 2A. So here is your, this is what the work, and then you would put your student's name and then the practice, the sheet number that they completed and all of that information there. So I would just put my one child and then all the sheets that they completed, the grades that they got and all things like that. So this is just the recording form. This is for the homework assignment, so the sheet that you give them to complete for later in the day. And then this one is for their assessments. So automatically has record keeping there, and they're double-sided, so that's wonderful. This one has the same that it had in the kindergarten book. In the back of the book, this has the oral lesson record keeping here, and it's pretty much the same setup where you have the child's name, the date, materials need, part A, part B. So count as far as you can. Do not prompt. Stop at 100. Record the last number. So you just tell them, just count as far as you can, go as far as you can, and then tell them to stop at 100. Give the child number cards 1 through 5 in random order. Then you say, read these numbers, put the numbers in order. And this is in lesson 10. So you have a little while to go before you get here so that your child will be able to pick that information up. Then you have a next one at lesson 20, then a next one at lesson 30. And so on and so forth. Every 10 lessons you have an oral assessment all the way to lesson 130, okay? And then you're just going to be recording all of those. And lesson 130 says telling time to the half hour. You're going to get all the way there. So show 2:30 on a demonstration clock. What time is it? Then you move the hands on the clock. And so with this, one of the things that you will need will be a clock. So let me grab the clock for you. All right, so this is the clock that would come with the, if you get the kit, this is a clock that comes with the kit. I ordered it separately because I did not need the entire kit. I had a lot of pieces already, but this is the clock that comes with it. And so your kids will be working on telling the time on this. We also have this clock as well. So when I'm working with, you know, each of my kids, I will be working with this clock, and then I will give them this clock as well. So here is the Geo Boards, and I have them just inside of a larger crayon box, and I picked these up from Staples on clearance last year, but you can pick these up on Amazon, and they come with little rubber bands. And so here are the Geo Boards that you'll need. Again, if you purchase the kit, it comes with the kit as well. Okay, so I saw that here that you would need the Geo Boards, and so I figured I will show you guys. And then money, I just keep a jar of money around all the time. I actually have it right here. It's in one of the kids. This used to be like a formula container for the kids, and I just kept it, and we started collecting change in there. So we have had this forever. So I always have this in our homeschool room. Assessments for the kids. So we write down their facts sheets. So their fact sheets that they get, the addition ones, the subtraction, what they missed, written assessments, again, the school, the name, the teacher. So these are all great things to just have. So again, we're looking for the worksheets. And then on the back is like the oral assessments here, any notes or comments. But we're gonna be doing, it was 2A was to complete during the lesson time, and then 2B was to be completed as like a homework assignment. And so the back of it is 2B. So what my plan is to work with them on one and then try to see if they could do the other one by themselves. So, or even with my husband. So here is 2A, and then here on the back side is 2B. So that's where you would get your assignments from. You would get them from this book here. So there is that. And then let's see. It gives you what, you know, what the kids will need here. So it's just a picture of what they're going to need and what they're going to be doing. And then it goes into the next lesson. And so I'm going to go ahead and try to flip through to give you guys an idea, but this is pretty much the same setup. So you're going to do your calendar in your meeting. You're going to do your weather graph. You are going to do some counting. You are going to then move on to your, to writing your numbers here. And then you're going to do your written practice here. So this is, of course, more in depth than what you saw in the kindergarten lesson, but I really like it. So again, same thing. I love the consistency of it. Okay, so this is the scale that I picked up on Amazon. I pulled it out, and my kids have already tried to play with it. I had to take it apart because I don't want it to get broken, you guys. I really don't, before we even get started on the lesson. But the scale is very easy to put together for you guys. Okay, and so then the kids are working on their balances, and it has like this on the side that can make it change if you want to add a little bit more, kind of a thing. So you guys get the point. So here's the scale that I got on Amazon. So here are the dominoes that I got off of Amazon. These are the ones that come with the kit as well. They're just wooden dominoes. So these are the dominoes here. All of this will be linked for you guys. And so I like that they're wooden, because when they fall, they don't make as much of a noise as the other ones. Let me show you the other things that they'll be working on. So they'll work on halves. So here is cutting an apple in half, and then here are actually the number cards here. So they usually start with 0 plus 0. Let me turn it this way. So they start with 0 plus 0, and then if you follow each of these, it's all the 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. You guys get the point. And then it goes 0 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1. So you start with those. 1 plus 0, 1 plus 2 kind of a thing. 2 plus 0 is your number chart here. This one goes over identifying geometric solids. So cylinders and cubes, which I have that here as well. Again, no, this one I actually didn't get from Amazon. I got this from Staples. I got these from Staples. They were on clearance with the Geo Boards, and so I picked up this set here. All that's in here. And I did not mention, so you get this book with this. So this is part 1, and then this one here is part 2. And this one goes over more so time and plus and minus facts. That is in this book a lot. So I am very excited. So you get all of these in the box. This was all sealed up together here. And then I went ahead and pieced together everything as far as the kit comes. The only other thing that is in the kit that I didn't show you because I didn't see that prompt come up is these little chips as well. They're double-sided chips, so one is yellow and one is red. So this comes in the kit as well. So all of these things, and I got these off of Amazon. So all of these things you want to have. You can either buy the kit if you're missing a lot of things, or if you have most of them, you can, buy them individually. So here is my little chips, my dominoes, my little shapes here, my scale. Here's my scale, my counting bears, the clock that it asked for, my math cubes, my shapes, and these. Thank you guys so much for being here. Until next time, take care, friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye, friends.